Hey everyone, I'm Timmy Scott, and if you're new here, welcome. For my returning visitors, welcome back. Yes, back at you again with another video. As I talked about before, I was going to talk about how to leave a cult. I know there's videos out there like that already, but this one is a little different for those who are thinking about leaving one and have never seen those videos before and come across mine. Well, I'm going to give you some tips off of Wikipedia, because actually some of these are pretty helpful, honestly. And I also want to leave a message with this. I know I've kind of talked about this before, but this one is going to be a little more different than what I've usually addressed. I don't care about the fame. That's not the point of me making these videos, just like everyone else out there who put out these videos like this. I do this because I want to help people. And people find my videos beneficial, regardless if they were in a religious cult or not. They find my videos beneficial and helpful. And as long as they take it with a grain of salt, which a lot of you do, I appreciate that. I could care less if I have anywhere from 15,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers. I don't care about that. As long as my message is getting across to people, that's all that really matters. Because I just want people to see what I went through. And again, regardless if they were in a religious cult or not, they take my videos with a grain of salt and they find it beneficial and helpful to them. That's all I really care about doing. All I care about is getting my videos out there to people that like hearing my message, because they know what it's like, or have some similar experience to it. That's the whole sole purpose of me making these videos. I could care less about the fame. So, anyway, now that I cleared that up, just in case people get ideas of thinking something else, which some people do, but anyway, that's whatever. So, like I said, let's get into it. I'll read the first paragraph, then I'll read some other parts on how to leave a cult if you're thinking about leaving one but you don't know how to. It's not always obvious when a group is a cult. And by the time you realize you're involved with one, getting away can be difficult. It really can, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And I've talked about them in my previous videos. While no group or organization admits to being a cult, you're probably dealing with one if you are not allowed to ask questions, which you really can't, unfortunately. Make your own decisions, which I've talked about in my previous videos. I've wanted to be able to make my own decisions growing up, but because of having Jehovah's Witness parents, that never helped. Or disagree with the leader. And if you disagree with what Jehovah's Witnesses are saying, or at least the leaders, or what they call watchtower headmen, it makes it that much more challenging to express how you feel of your opinion on that religion. Or even Mormonism or Roman Catholics and all those other types. Anyway, anyone can get pulled into a cult, but not everyone has the courage to leave and rejoin mainstream society. And it's actually true. I'll get into this really quick here, but I'm going to finish reading this first. You can escape a cult by planning your getaway carefully and finding ways to recover from spiritual and emotional abuse. So I want to get into this. So when I left the cult, like I've talked about in my previous videos, it really was a hard thing to adjust to mainstream society itself, because Jehovah's Witnesses were all I ever knew because of my parents and people around me that were in it. Now, I did have some non-Jehovah's Witness friends, but not enough to be able to adapt to mainstream society like I have been able to. And that's just a part of life. I'm just now, recently, at least anyway, trying to rebuild myself to something I never had the chance to do. People always putting me down in some form of way, and I never had the chance to morph and learn to be able to be able to want to adapt to not caring what people think. Now, I tried, and I really did want to not care what people think, but because of the teachings of the Jehovah's Witnesses being engraved into my brain, it made it difficult to see the glass half full because of all those brainwashing techniques they use on their followers, including obviously me, being one of them. Spending 22 years of my unfortunate life, I had to again adapt to mainstream society, and I had to push hard to make myself be able to want to adapt to it. And I'm just now rebuilding myself. And I'm sure a lot of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses out there watching this are doing that too. Rebuilding yourself and bringing yourself back up and not trying to let what the Jehovah's Witnesses taught us bring you down, I guess. Anyway, so didn't mean to go off on that little rant there, but just wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, part 1. Getting away. That's going to be a tricky thing if you're living on or in a compound, which I'm going to read here real quick. Pack your things. If you are in a cult that lives in a compound shared living situation, such as a subdivision, commune, or shared home, pack a bag for leaving. Bring a change of clothes. Practical items like your cell phone and ID, and anything with sentimental value. Stow your bag away where no one will find it unless you're ready to go. Or until you're ready to go, sorry. If you think you may have to leave at a moment's notice, keep your cell phone, your ID, and money or small valuables you have on you. If you think someone might find your bag, don't take the risk of packing. Plan to leave your possessions behind if you need to. Think about possible answers in case someone questions why you're packing. So that way that it doesn't make it obvious that you're actually trying to leave them itself. Then that way they don't think anything of it when you find another reason. Again, just think of something in advance in case they decide to ask you. If you're in that situation watching this. Well, yeah. Make a list of people who could help you. Think about every person you know outside of the cult that could potentially help you in some way. Now, I like some of what they said about this, but anyway. This could be a friend, a doctor, a neighbor, a classmate, or anyone else. Write each of their names down and write what they might be able to help you with next to their name. Whether it's getting meals, finding a job, or staying hidden from cult members. Contact these people as soon as it's safe to do so. I guess you can also ask in advance when you're not around the cult members. This is basically kind of what I did, what I've talked about before. Find a place to stay. If you're leaving a live-in cult arrangement, try to line up a safe place to stay in advance. It really is a good idea to do that. Consider staying with family or friends who aren't involved in the cult, or search for shelters in your area. Unfortunately, my situation was a little different. Well, not really unfortunately, but my situation was different since I didn't live in a religious compound. I still left and lived with a friend, but since I don't have family that I could trust, I didn't bother to ask them because even if they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, they still act like it because of my dad and stepmom that act like it, and my mom, obviously. So they may not be aware that they're acting like it, but that's what they do. And it's just facts, at least in my opinion anyway. If you think you'll be in danger after you leave the cult, go to the police. They can help you find a place to stay. This might be the best thing to do if you're a young child. Find an opportunity to get away. Stop attending services or meetings, meaning you could stay at a friend or family's house that aren't involved in the cult in some way, instead of going to the meeting or service as a kind of a way, as slow step way to get out of it. Staying safe. This part is tricky, I guess. Keep your plan secret. Don't tell anyone in the cult that you're planning to leave. They may try to talk you out of it, which Jehovah's Witnesses always try to do. And regardless if they want to believe that or not, which they deny that they do that, just keep it out of sight or something like that if you're planning on trying to leave but you don't know how to. And just don't tell anyone, because it's better to not tell them, and then you won't have to worry about the repercussions, I guess, if that's the right term. If you're living in a compound, they may also start watching you more closely. That's if you had told them your secret and you're giving obvious hints or something like that, I guess. So you'll have fewer opportunities to escape. Participate in activities as usual to avoid arousing any suspicion. That's what I mean. Try not to give obvious hints, because it's better that way. Be careful about trusting other people in the group. Even if someone seems to be on your side, they may have a change of heart and tell the other members about your plans later. So that means, like, if you think you're all buddy-buddy with them because you guys are all close, don't bother telling them at all, because, again, like I just said, they could turn on you real quick in a heartbeat. Document your interactions with group members after you leave. Focus on yourself instead of trying to rescue other people in the cult. Again, this is where it could backfire on you if you plan on telling your secret that you're leaving. This is another good example, because if you plan on telling them that you're leaving and you want to help them and you think you want to try to save them from it, just don't bother with it. Just let them come to you when you're already out of it, and they can turn to you and come to you because you're already not in the cult. People who are experiencing doubts might approach you. That will be your opportunity to help them. Again, I'm going to leave this in the description so you can read this if you're in a cult watching this and thinking about leaving. This, again, can help you if you think about it. Decide whether to involve law enforcement. And I'm sure a lot of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses know how pushy they get. They don't care about the boundaries, their communication and social skills. They think it's a shepherd's call or something like that when a member starts getting spiritually weak, in their opinion. If members of the cult are harassing, threatening, or stalking you, talk to the police. You should also get the authorities involved if anything illegal is happening in the cult, or if you think the cult may be endangering other people. For instance, if people in the cult are being physically or sexually abused, you should let the police know. Again, there are people who think it's safe to go to the elders when they're being physically or sexually abused. They think they're getting some kind of comfort out of it, when unfortunately they're not. And that's the unfortunate mistake a lot of them make. And that's why it goes unreported more often than not, as it should go more reported than going to the person in the cult that are leaders or whatever. Recovering emotionally. And this is the part I was talking about, rebuilding myself. Work on your boundaries. Stay strong in your decision to leave the cult. Remind yourself why you wanted to get away. And tell any current members of the group that you don't want to talk to them before they decide to shun you. And if they shun you, which happens a lot in religious cults and religion, and it's a lot, practice making your own decisions and work on rediscovering your personality. Again, this is the part I talked about just now recently, trying to rebuild my life because I never really had the opportunity to be able to, even when I joined mainstream society 6 years ago. Cults are so effective at controlling people because they break down their boundaries. And this is the part, again, I talked about. They have no communication or social skills whatsoever. It will take time, practice, and perhaps counseling to rebuild your boundaries in a healthy way. So this can also, I want to put it in my own words, I guess. And again, you can take this with a grain of salt. If you don't want to, trying to remember where I was going to put my own words into it, don't fall for guilt trips. They use that mentality because they think it's a way to get under your skin when you think about leaving them, because you decided to tell them that you're leaving. But unfortunately, that's not really a good thing, honestly, actually. Actually, it's not a good thing at all to guilt trip people into coming back to the cult mentality behavior like this. Because you woke up and realized about all of this, realizing it's all a lie. Anyway, keep in mind that many cults are well-intentioned and may do many good things. You can do good things independently and make the world better without belonging to that or any group. You do not have to live in fear. Obey rigid rules of conduct. Endear the attitude of the leaders, which is what the followers do, or allow them to control your thoughts and feelings, which, again, they do. They know they're doing it, and they do it well, and this is where that mimicked behavior comes into play when they're doing it. I think this is some more. Yeah, there's actually some more, but I'm not going to read a lot of it. That's why, like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Seek support from people who you know outside of the cult. Many people will be sympathetic to you. Even if they don't fully understand the challenges you're facing, readjust to life outside the cult by spending time with, unfortunately for my sake, family at least, friends, and other people who care about you. You may also want to look for a support group for survivors of spiritual abuse. If you're having a hard time adjusting, consider talking to a counselor or cult expert who can help reframe your life. When they mean cult expert, I think they mean like people who have left the cult as well and have enough knowledge, psychological knowledge about how that cult worked. Sorry, have a lot of knowledge. I just woke up, sorta, so I'm still in that mind frame of trying to piece it all together. Anyway, like I said, people who have experience being in the cult most of their life, especially at a young age. So I want to get into this, and then I'm pretty much done. If you've gotten this far, let me know in the comments. I want to get into this. I like how, unfortunately, religious cults like to spread propaganda, meaning like to spread their hate and hypocrisy to everyone. They try to deny and say that they're not hateful people, but I've seen it. They like to gossip about people that aren't a part of their religion. That's not what love is. If God and Jesus were real entities that existed, at least if I was open to knowing that they existed, at least just my thinking the last few years, if I believe they existed, like I said, I'm going to repeat it anyway, if they existed, they would be loving entities. They wouldn't spread their hate toward other people like these religious people are doing. They think they're doing the right thing, but they're really not. They're actually hurting a lot more people than they think they're trying to save with their slander they're using. Their tone of voice, the way they say things to their followers, and then their followers try to spread it to other people. Hate is an unfortunate circumstance, especially in religious cults, obviously. I don't know. I'm going to get into another video on hate and what I think of religion and stuff like that, and I know I've kind of talked about it before, but I want to talk about it in a more in-depth, deep, meaningful way of how I feel about religion and cults and what I think they're doing wrong and why I don't like it and all that other stuff in another video. So, yeah, like I said, I might leave a link in the description for this one, and for my outro, like I said, whatever I've left out will be in the description below if anyone bothers to read them. Like this video to your favorites, turn it to blue for you, hit that red subscribe button down below, takes 3 seconds of your time, or 69, haven't really quite decided. Leave a comment, let me know what you got out of it. I know a lot of you will agree to this, and yeah, share this video around with your friends and family on social media. I know a lot of you do, and still amazes me that you guys do that, and I really appreciate it, like I said. But at the same time, again, I don't honestly really care about the fame. It's more about helping people with the message of what I went through and sharing it to all of you who find this beneficial. That's the whole sole purpose of my videos, and taking them with a grain of salt anyway. So, anyway, like I said, not sure if I'm going to upload soon again. Maybe I will. You'll see when you get a notification. And, yeah, with that, like I said, whatever I left out will be in the description below. So, anyway, not sure what else I got. But in the meantime, I will see you guys next time. Later.